All right, folks, welcome on back here in this Tuesday morning, December 5th, shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back. You can tell this is not Fausto's beautiful mug. This is my ugly mug here. Josh stepping in for Fausto once again this morning. He'll be back tomorrow, just a bit of a one-off day from him. So with that said, great to see all of our students and members alike. Got Michael, Grant, Leda, got Brian, Ray, got Richard, John before, got Steve, Phil, Kathleen, got Fernando and Andy before joining us for the first time today. Welcome aboard, gents. And Wendy and Charles, Mark rounding up the pack up top. So great to see all of our students and great to have all of us back on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Just that being at Cyber Trading U, just all of our social media streams and platforms here. I always like to type this here in the chat board first. Any of our first time attendees on social, just be a friend, tell a friend. Just follow us right there at Cyber Trading U. But with that said, we actually have a busy morning ahead of us. Hey, we have a couple of news tidbits that we can go through here. We have NEO popping off of news. The CMND is actually breaking out just now, or just did before, prior to 9 o'clock. We had another stock that was up big this morning from after hours, like NRSN. We'll get to that in a bit too. But also for Richard, Margaret, Brad, a lot of our returning students here inside the Cyber Group room. What is today, folks? What happens on Tuesdays is basically the question I'm asking. What do we got going on today? We got our weekly workshop today. That's right, Traders Talk. So that's our Q&A session hosted by myself every Tuesday, I should say, every week on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock Eastern. So again, for any of our members inside our trading room, just stay right put. You're good to go. We got a full morning ahead of audio and trading ahead, but that'll be at 11 o'clock Eastern time. We simulcast that, though, right on our YouTube channel. So if you're just on YouTube right now, just check in with our YouTube later on today. Just make sure you're subscribed, though, as well, so you know when we're going live. And we'll have our Traders Talk just simulcast. Again, you could stay in our trading room, don't need to go anywhere. That's the better spot to be in, just as you have the main chat board, the whole group dynamic, and all the questions that we're going to be going through there together. So with that said, CMND, let me go through level 4 on this trade really quickly here. I just popped this up before I started this meeting, the CMND at least. I had news for NRSN I was going to start with. All right, so CMND, Clear Mind Medicine achieved results in cocaine addiction treatment. Interesting. When I saw the name of the stock, like Clear Mind Medicine, first thing that came to my mind, just because you see them pop up every now and then, maybe a new pot stock that could be making some news. They're all like teases anyway, all the pot stocks. Well, this year, it looks like, again, achieved results in cocaine addiction treatment. There's a bunch of other stuff underneath the headline, at least. It's good to have at least some sort of catalyst, some news out there that could push the stock up. We don't need it. But it's just to say, it's nice to have perhaps more traders catch on to that headline and they take a look at this trade at least. Now, we look at level 4, right? We look at the heat map here, book map that is. So we had a couple of large sell orders here at 592, $5, a little at 510, but like mainly at 492 and $5 and blasted above it just before. And most notably, it held it as support. Resistance became support, not once, but twice. And then now it's still like in consolidation. For anyone that took this trade from earlier, you definitely want to see a higher high soon. We always say this here, you can't use stops in pre-market. Like, you cannot use a stop order in pre-market. It's not allowed. Your platform doesn't allow it. So that's where you got to be careful, especially for when an iceberg order here looks like there was some support at 450 that popped up. If that gets pulled as it did, this may look to make a lower low over time. So once the fuel runs out of the gas tank, that's where you got to be very careful on a low float, low volume type of trade here. Looking at this trade, it looks like it's been through the spin cycle here the last 4 days or 5 days. I don't remember trading the stock really. Looks like back on Friday last week, just to wrap up the end of last week, it had a big volume day, maybe like pre-market, we called it out, pop and drop, I guess. But yeah, that's been the case for the last 4 or 5 days before that. So just pop and drops all over the place. Perhaps there could be more to come with that in mind. We do embrace volatility, mind you. So as much as I, say, watch out, be careful on a trade like this, what happens when the volume dies off? Well, we do embrace the volatility here, right? So, hopefully this could look to blast a higher high soon enough. CMND. I'll definitely add that to our watch list here to begin. Also, as we go through with that iceberg that got pulled at 450, let's see what happens over time, the next few minutes. See if this is the beginning of a ladder. Maybe they'll look to ladder that order up higher as it pushes up naturally. So that could always be the case. Just keep your eye on the bid side there for that CMND trade. All right, so nice pop just there. NEO, NIO, one of my favorite stocks over time. I haven't traded in so long because the cheaper it gets, the slower it gets. I've said that like 6 months ago, actually. So for any of my students that have been with CTU for a number of years, like 3, 4, 5 years, you know that we love trading NEO on a week to week basis. It was like a 10, 15, $20 stock making a decent move back in 21. It exploded. Hey, it's coming off good earnings today. I think they issued guidance on top. Here's the thing. I'm going to add NEO to our watch list here, and it's a tradable stock. It's a lot easier on the eyes. It's probably a little bit slower, more manageable on level 3 compared to that other one. But here, let's see what happens at 2:30, because we'll come back at 2:30 this afternoon. A lot of these morning earnings have not produced good results on the intraday, like as a day trade. This produced earnings this morning early, and it's only up 3.6%. We've been seeing earnings reports announced and moves like you'll see on GitLab coming up in a bit, like 13%, a hell of a lot more than that at times. 3.6% reminds me of the Delta Airlines earnings that tanked. So I'd be a little careful just with that in mind. Loose thought there, but for the meantime, I'll add NEO to our list. It's still making a higher low, and hopefully you could blast the highs off 765 that we had there. Always got to be hopeful, right? As much as I try and warn us here, be careful, what if? I am hopeful. So I'm looking for a nice, pretty result here. Don't get me wrong, especially since this is one of my favorite stocks like in history since I've been with Fausto. So you know what I'm following here for the morning. And if you don't, now you do, because this is the chart I took the time to line up early in the morning here. So I'm telling you, I'm following NEO here. I'm hopeful. I hope it makes the big blast, the big pop up higher here. So we got CMND, we got NEO. Any of the other trades that ended up making the move. Let's go over that NRSN as we'll go from top to bottom in just a moment. Just a pretty example of just a trade that you don't want to hold on to. We said it before. What happens when the fuel runs out of the tank and there's no more gas left in the car? And for the NRSN trade, that happened early. So even at 7 o'clock, popped up and then pulled back. And then going into 8 o'clock, it was flat. So that doesn't seem too good. And then right away, obviously, the big drop off. So NRSN announced that it met its primary safety and tolerability and secondary clinical efficacy endpoints. That's a lot of strong words for myself right now in a morning here. Tongue's getting tied. So basically, they ended up achieving primary endpoints on their phase 2B paradigm trial, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't appear to be that way, right? So, obviously there has to be more to it aside from the headline. Maybe it's a giant short attack. Maybe the traders this morning that are watching this trade, maybe they loaded up already on shorts, knowing that it was an easy opportunity. Yeah, it's more in hindsight, right? That's like kind of just speculation after the fact. But hey, a good example of just you can't fully trust the news, and you can't rely only on a stock that came out with good news. Oh, it's going to pop. It has to pop, right? Well, look at it now. Now it's actually down 18 to 19%. There's got to be more news out on top of this. And with that in mind, like, it doesn't even make me that interested in putting it on our list. You can't short it, really, at least for us. I'm on TradeStation. So unless if you're on a prop firm or some other sketchy broker will look to say, I'd be a little skeptical of a move up and like back up to $2, $2.20. I don't know if there's that much opportunity there now. I'll come back to it if you want me to. NRSN. So we got a bunch actually on the gainers and losers list here. This WNW is a cheapie. We're going to skip over that, I reckon. Number 2, ALLR, as we keep going through. Now, again, folks, keep in mind, if you're just joining us right now, we got our workshop later on this morning. Traders Talk weekly Q&A workshop we host simulcast inside our live trading room and on YouTube. So stay tuned for that. ALLR, though, hey, it popped up just before, moving back on up a little bit here. It's close enough to $1, right, for us to actually put it on our list for a long. We normally don't like trading the stocks below $1. So, yeah, there's some extra news out on this company as well. Early phase 2B data, advanced ovarian cancer drug. So, nice sounding headline. It's not down 18% like the other ones. So, yeah, I'll add this here. Aller. All right, CMND on the list already. We keep going through now at this point, folks. Really, saw this early this morning. Soar. That's my New York accent kicking in. So obviously, stock exploded up to like $80 nearly, and then pulled all the way back down. I said this to a student yesterday, actually, in private chat, and he had asked, and I addressed it just for everyone. And that student was unnamed even, and they remain unnamed. Just to say, you don't want to just get too excited, like, oh, this stock popped up to 80. How can I jump in pre-market? Look at this thing. Big trees fall hard. Not only that, but again, you cannot set stops in pre-market. For anyone saying that they got stopped out, I don't know what they're talking about. You can't get stopped out because there's no stop orders in pre-market. So that's the danger of trading that. Point being, there's other fish in the sea to catch. Really, it's only 9:11, 9:12 Eastern in the morning. We got a few minutes before the market even opens up. So there's going to be a lot of trades coming up here in just a bit. Not BOIL, but BIOL, BOIL, the ETF here, which we tend to trade every now and then. Maybe it's up 2.1% because of this one right now. Another trader is trying to get their dyslexia trades off. BIOL, nice little pop-up just before. It's pulling back a little bit though here, like 12,000 on the bid here at 175. You need to see that hold. Alongside that, the VWAP. It doesn't hurt us to add a stock like this to our watch list. Thing fell off from quite a bit back in like 2019. Looking at the long-term chart, has to be some sort of reverse stock split that took place there. But yeah, I like the others a little bit more. I guess I'll slip this on the back end for right now. And then we keep it moving. All right, GitLab. This stock ended up swinging last earnings report they had. They had good earnings, but then they ended up tanking. So here this morning, they had good earnings. They're up 12%, very similar to the last time when I traded them. And much like the last time I traded them, they are dipping back down a little bit here in pre-market. So, more expensive stock. If the order book fills in, then it could definitely be a good trade. I'm going to try and focus on stocks more within that 1 to 30 price range, though, folks. So I guess for that reason, I'll kind of scratch it. All right. Got a lot of like low volume, very, very cheap stocks. You got a 2-cent stock here, GMBL. I don't know what that thing is. We're pretty much below 5% already. So we got this View trade from yesterday, actually. A nice pop and then drop on View. Just wanted to look at this briefly. It has a good order book. It's up 5% again. Doesn't hurt us to add this on our list here too, similar to the BIOR trade. BOIL. Dyslexia. Holy smokes. BOIL. The BIOL, not BIOR. I just wrote that down incorrectly. All right, so hop over to the loser side in just a second here for Leda, for Kathleen, for Richard, John, etc. Let me know if there's anything else in the chat board, anything that's moving upward, looking good. Type it in. We'll hop over to the loser side here. We got the Repel REPL. It's actually down a lot percentage-wise to look for a potential dead cat bounce. It is shortable too, so if it does pull back down again, there could be opportunity seen both ways. So I like this trade, REPL. I'll add it. What's the news out on the stock action? The curious mind just to see a stock down 47%, trading lower after the company announced results of a trial, blah, 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 blah. It's a very wordy headline, might I say. Failed melanoma cohort of the blah, blah, blah clinical trial. So big drop, nice pullback. And then again, it is shortable. So there could be more room on the downside here should it continue here before the open. Is this at all-time lows too? Yeah, it's at all-time lows. That's an even further reason to look for the pullback in a short. DBI, pretty similar chart, down big already. It's pretty much at the lows. It is easy to borrow. You got to see the order book filling a lot more on this type of trade. Let's see if there's anything else though that looks even better, more liquid perhaps. Probably add that one at the end. Man, we're already kind of floating around 5% here already, right? So let's take a quick look. We got the economic calendar just on my other monitor here. So today at 9:45 in the morning, there's some like data coming out, U.S. services PMI report. That's not really too big, but maybe you got a little jolt in the market, tiny. At 10 o'clock, you got some other stuff coming out like job openings and ISM services. Not the biggest out there that we tend to focus on. Upcoming this Friday, you got the employment report. So, I think that will be a little bit more important in my eye. But, there might be a couple of things at 9:45 and 10 o'clock that may look to make a pop at least, hopefully a pop. But, if there's anything else though, folks, up or down, left or right, definitely type it in here in the chat board. Neo beat earnings, says Warren. Yes, one of our students, Warren, on YouTube joining us this morning. Great to have you here with us, Warren. Neo did beat earnings, and I think they issued guidance as well, right? And then Vin from earlier, I just caught this chat right now, Vin. So just on the CMND trade, that's already on our watch list, at least started off on that one. So at least for now, we'll keep that there. Andreas saying CMND, hopefully it becomes a monster today. Yeah, I mean, it just broke higher a little bit, popped up to 6, much like we always teach here for a stock that already popped and broke out and it was already moving up so nicely. First test is the best test, right, folks? First test of resistance is the best test in which it will hold. Now, the more times it nips and gnaws that 6 level, then we should expect the better move over time. That's how we'll look to play it. All right, Grant, my friend, I appreciate the kind words in the chat, just catching that just from a few moments ago. And then otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. Check Benzinga scan here. We love Benzinga. We'll show the scan that we tend to look at here. SOAR, that thing's too crazy. Not zero interest in SOAR. Zero. If you're trading SOAR, then you like gambling and you don't like making intelligent decisions with money. So that is where I'm avoiding that SOAR trade. And HCDI, just got to be a little careful on that one. I'll take a look at that again. That was one that we said like it popped and dropped back from, I think it was Friday last week, the end of last week it was. History could repeat itself. And that was like right at 8:15 in the morning, popped up a little bit, but then shook right back down. I like the order book at least. If it had a bad spread, thin volume out there, I'd easily pass on it. It's trying to inch back up a little bit more. So, I don't mind slipping this on our list now at this stage again. Give it a shot. The NRSN, no interest. Yeah, I mean, you want to respect the trend first more than anything. So there has to be a reason why this just tanked as badly as it did. I would much rather follow NEO. I would much rather follow View and perhaps even the CMND trade should it maintain that uptrend. All right, so folks, Brian says scanning day. It's also Traders Talk Day. I know, I'm just teasing with that, Brian. Brian certainly knows, and Andrea and Grant and all of us here in our chat board. So last call for questions at least. Send over any questions or emails, any trades you'd want to go over directly to me, josh@c2trading.com. That's my email address. I'll take that in on YouTube as well. For anyone joining us on YouTube, any questions you got, feel free to shoot me over a quick email right to josh@c2trading, as we said. Scan that QR code on the top left, just on the stream, if you're interested in getting the full rendition of our Traders Talk workshops, all of the recordings of that with the week-long trial of our trading room. But for all of us here collectively, Margaret, Brad, Ravina, great to have all of us here just joining us this morning. Got a packed house here in Cyber Group this morning. Hopefully a really strong open ahead. I'm looking forward to NEO, looking forward to a bunch of these that we have on our list, and we'll go from there, folks. All right. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.